Inspired.
Inspired to aspire.
Aspire.
Aspiring.
Empower.
I am empowered.
Never give up.
Let's get inspired.
Empowered by DNA. Come on, hey. Empowered by DNA. Dialogue, networking, inspired. Empowered by DNA. With Nikki. With Nikki. With Nikki.
Hello, and thank you again for joining us at Empowered by DNA, Dialogue, Networking, Aspire. Listen, I am Nikki, and I am so happy to have Felicia Wall here with me, my sister, a woman of many talents, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Listen, I don't know when she sleeps, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this day-to-day grind. A lot of times we see stuff on social media, we see stuff on TV, we see people doing things, and we want this and we want that. But let's talk about that work ethic, that thing we got to put behind our dreams and the things that we aspire to do. So do me a favor before we get started, Felicia. I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and all this stuff you got going on. I know you have an event center here. But what else you got?
Do we have time?
We got time.
As you said, I have an event center, and I have a event services as well. So it's a full service event company. So we can do all your decorations and I don't outsource anything. So everything that you see, I handcrafted.
Oh, wow.
Myself. I do all the centerpieces myself, flower by flower, runners and all kinds of things.
It's beautiful too.
I do them myself.
Wow.
It's called Fantasy to Life. And that's what we're doing.
Okay.
We are creating life experiences according to our fantasies.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah. So, just letting people know your fantasies can come true.
Yes.
And so I have that.
All right.
And my profession, believe it or not, I have a profession that I work every day.
Wow.
I work in IT.
Wow.
So I have several different sides of my brain.
Wow.
I work in IT. I am a healthcare analyst. So I build software for the electronic medical records.
Oh my good. Can we say smart? Wow.
That's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I'm a senior consultant and I travel for a living on contract with a lot of different hospitals and medical facilities throughout the United States and abroad.
Wow.
And I've been doing that since 2015.
My goodness.
2015. So that's my day-to-day. Along with that, I am in ministry.
Come on now.
As well.
Yes.
Yeah, I am the national supervisor of our international region for Celebration of Praise Ministries Incorporated.
All right.
The supervisor of India, Haiti, South Africa,
My goodness.
and Jamaica,
My goodness.
and London.
So when are we sleeping?
When we did.
I like that one.
I tell the people, listen, we sleep when we're dead.
My goodness.
Yeah, so I use up 28 hours of 24 usually, but that's my life. That's what I do. And then I'm still a full-time mom. I have one child. Actually, she's an adult, but they never
grow up.
They never grow up. So I'm still a full-time mom too.
My goodness. So Felicia, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. Amazing, right? Amazing. So we're talking about all this. It sounds amazing. It sounds great. And on social media, I'm sure it would look like the bomb. But let's talk about the reality. What got you here? What got you to the point of like the multiple streams of income, the multiple movement, like all of this stuff that you're doing as a kid? What did you ever imagine like this is where you would be? Or is it something along the way that said, hey, I think I need to go this direction?
Several different things.
Okay.
Actually, as a child, I didn't know early on what it was. There's a youth program that when I was younger called Applied Youth Development.
Okay.
we called it simply AYD.
Okay.
And if you're from Greensboro, everybody knows about Mr. Bright and AYD. He came into our low-income areas in Greensboro.
Okay.
I lived in the housing projects in Greensboro and Claremont, and so he started youth programs in all of the low-income housing projects.
Wow.
Where we learned life skills
Mhm.
along with trades. Believe it or not, I can build a soapbox derby car.
Oh, wow.
I've raced one.
Mm.
I can build a float for the parades.
All right.
And he taught us all those things. I also, in high school, I was a cheerleader and I was a majorette. And he taught us those things. I learned how to twirl a baton at the age of 6 years old in that program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so all that he taught us about work, the work ethic, putting in the work, putting in the time. At the age of, I think I was 7, I was typing more than 70 words per minute.
Oh, my goodness.
Where he has, we had a typing program that we went to every Saturday for free. All these programs was free. And so that's why I am multifaceted, because I learned so many different things until I kind of got to where I knew I needed to be. But yeah, I built a soapbox derby. We rebuilt a motor in a lawnmower.
Wow.
I'm able to do those kind of things.
Oh my goodness.
So now I don't have to change my oil.
There
and that
you go.
kind of stuff. But back in the day,
Yeah.
I used to change my own oil.
Wow.
I used to check my oil, change my oil, change my tires. My tire go flat, I would change my tire, but he taught us life skills. But then he also taught us about being confident and being comfortable in your own skin, right? I had a couple things that kind of, I had to deal with.
Right.
I was a short kid, always. I was always the smallest in the group. So that was kind of you get picked on because of that, where I lived, the economical aspects, that was another kind of drawback. But he taught us to be very comfortable, who we are. We took speaking classes.
Oh, wow.
Theater, speaking classes, and he taught us how to thrive, right?
I like that.
And so I attribute applied youth development and Mr. Bright, Nicholas Bright, to everything that I do today.
My goodness.
And when I actually started my dance ministry, which is crazy because I danced for a living.
Wow.
Who knew, right? I danced for a living. I went to school for dance. People think I went to school. Listen, let me tell you about God. I work in IT. I don't have an IT degree.
Come on, somebody. Phenomenal woman.
I dance for a living. I danced.
Yes.
And the transition came where I was on the road traveling, dancing professionally, and I all of a sudden found out that I was having a baby.
My goodness.
And I said, oh, I have to find something permanent. I need to come home, be a mom.
Yes.
And my mom was working at Moses Cone Hospital, and where she retired. And she said, let's get your job. I got a job there, and which is funny because I got a job at the registration desk, but I showed talent, I guess, with computers. And out of the blue, they asked me, listen, we're putting in a new system. Would you like to be a part of the team? That's how I got into IT.
Look at that. Positioned you.
Yeah.
I love hearing your story because I'm beginning to believe it would have been shorter to talk about what you can't do than what you can do. You truly are a woman of many talents, like legitimately. But I love listening to even though there was some unexpected situation in your life, how that didn't stop you. It might have diverted, you going from dance to, but it didn't stop you.
Yeah. Well, even now, I still dance. I do.
Right.
I still dance. And even then, I had my daughter, and I was not in the church at the time. I was kind of out there. And then I started transitioning in God. And I was like, okay, but the only thing I know how to do is dance. Only thing I've ever wanted to do was dance.
Okay.
You know, I've done the School of the Arts. I've danced all my life.
Yes.
And I said, how do I transition this? And the Lord woke me up and told me to write. And I started writing a vision about a religious art school.
Wow.
And that was some 20 years ago.
Oh my.
And I went to my parents, who are in bishops. And my mother's very open when it comes to the arts and those kinds of things. My dad at the time, very traditional pastor in the First Baptist Church.
Yes.
You know, we're not dancing and doing that in the church. Because the Lord told me,
Right.
take what I've given you and bring it back
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
Right? Because that's where the dance come from to start with.
Yes.
And so after my mom, you know, talking to my father, he said, okay, we'll see what happens. And so I started dance ministry at my father's church some 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I started a religious school called Wall School of Religious Arts. Had a studio here, years.
Wow.
Did workshops for years. Did a dance manual. Traveled the world teaching dance and in the church. And so I was able to transition. And this is what people don't understand.
Come on now.
What you do before you're in Christ, God can use it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You don't have to change who you are,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
He's going to use who you are.
I believe that.
A lot of times we want to become something else because it says, the world says that a Christian looks like this, right?
Say
or
that.
a person who's saved look like this. But God says, listen, whatever you have, I can use.
Come on. Yes. Yes.
And so because I was like I said, I had a father who was traditional.
Yes.
We couldn't play no cards. We couldn't do none of that kind of stuff. And he was like, no, we not dancing in the church.
Right.
But then from that, I said, listen, because I knew it was God.
Yes.
I never, because I'd never seen dance in the church.
Right.
You know, and into that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I started the religious art school, and I ended up having, we had praise dance, we had the banners, we had interpretation, which people don't know, that praise dance and interpretation is two different things. And mime is different from interpretation.
What's the difference?
Mime is an illusion
Okay.
that you're creating.
Okay.
Interpretation is interpreting the word and making it come to life. That's using sign language and
Okay.
things like that.
Oh wow. Okay. I
Right?
learned something.
So I had all those things. I had banners and all that stuff. And I ended up being the pioneer. I found out. Yeah, the pioneer for praise and worship dance.
Wow.
From what I started, very first in Alamance County.
Oh wow.
Very first in Alamance County, and it spilled over, and now you see everybody's miming. At one time they had I had the step teams,
Okay.
and we done won awards with the step teams and
My
all that kind of
goodness.
stuff. You know, and I still dance a little now, but you know, when you get a woman of a certain age, you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them. They would love for me to dance all the time in the church.
Yes.
But I'm waiting for. I've raised enough. We're on our 4th generation of dancers in my church.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Right? And so I'm waiting on this generation to raise up a leader.
Yeah. It's time to take a rest.
Listen, my body won't stand no 5-minute songs and all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not running like I used to run. So, but yeah, so everything that I've done, it has God has used it.
Okay. Awesome.
In the church, outside of the church. Like, he's used it. Even the other things that I had done, he's used all those things to bring it back to ministry. Why? Because now I'm more relatable to people than most people that's in church.
Now you said a mouthful there. Because, you know, we talk about church and I think what has brought me to this moment in time in my life is realizing that we're not empowered as a people, you know, in Christianity. We think, you know, we've been taught, you know, I guess poor is sign of salvation, or that what I call the sourpuss face you got, you know, that's a sign of, you know, that you're saved. But I believe that God has given us everything that we need to survive and thrive in this realm before the heavenly realm.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he said, I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly.
Right.
He didn't say, wait till you get to heaven and to have abundant life.
Right.
He said, heaven on earth. Right. I mean, you can have that.
Exactly.
That's why he died, that you may have life, that you may have it more abundantly. And why would you, I never understood why people are so against the pastor or people having prosperity.
Right.
Listen, how you preaching about a God who says that he owns a cattle on 1,000 hills and you don't have bus money?
Exactly.
That makes sense. That makes no sense to me.
Exactly.
Right?
I agree.
That's not even practical.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah.
It makes no sense. It doesn't add up.
Right.
You're preaching to me about how rich your God is.
Right.
But you can't afford a car, or you can't afford, you know, to go and do things that you like to do.
Right. Exactly.
People, I'm sorry, Christian people think they act like they're afraid of money.
Come on now. We
Like
need it to survive.
Listen, the word says, he said it answers all things, didn't it?
Yes.
It said money answers all things.
Right.
And so I'm not afraid, and I probably shouldn't say this, but because people get bothered when I say things like this.
I'm not afraid.
But I used to when I moved away and I was in New York, and even when I moved away in New York, I taught dance.
Okay.
And I was over the praise and worship. I was over the dance ministry as well as the choir at the most famous reverend in New York City.
Oh wow.
The Reverend Ike.
Oh wow. Okay.
I worked for Reverend Ike for 7 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
And danced at his funeral with my girls.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done a lot. But he used to say, everything good is attracted to me. Wow. And that was one of our mantras we would have to say every day in church. Everything good is attracted to me. I have a good relationship with money.
Wow.
And money he said, because anything that you don't have a relationship to won't come to you.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Makes sense though.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. And I've always wondered why we are like I know everybody loves the money the love of money is the root of all evil. And I always say it's the love. It's not the money that's the evil. Yeah. It's you who is evil that has access to the money. And I've always believed if you are evil without money, you're gonna be evil with money. If if you're hateful with money, you're gonna be hateful with.
This is about your character, not about the dollar.
Exactly.
That's really the bottom line.
Exactly.
It's about your character.
Exactly.
How you carry yourself.
I agree.
Before.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, what's in your heart before.
Exactly.
So it's not the money. And we always read, the A clause and never read the B.
You're right about that.
You got to read it all.
We don't study.
Oh yeah, listen, I'm going through a 21-day fast in consecration with Bishop Hezekiah Walker's church.
Okay.
Love Fellowship, and we getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning praying. They pray at 6, 12, and at 7.
Okay.
And yesterday we were praying for health was the topic that we were praying, and he gave us a wheel of dimensions of health, and one of them was intellectual health.
We need that.
He said we got to be able to think past where we are.
That's right.
And one of the pastors said something. I said, "Ooh, ouch." He said we all should have at least 5 to 10 books lined up that we're reading. Whether it's self-help or whatever, to enlighten you, to empower you.
Exactly. I agree with that.
So it's healthy.
I agree.
It's a part of your health.
It is.
Spiritual health, physical health, financial health, your intellectual health.
That's right.
Those are dynamics of being whole and well.
I agree. And you said a mouthful. So we know that you are a businesswoman.
I am
You are a woman of faith. You
I'm a
have gone to the School of the Arts, art school. You've danced. You can change your own oil.
That's right.
You can build a float.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, my sister, you doing the doggone thing. Let's just put it out there. But when we talk about faith before we close, I have to go here with you. We talk about faith, and you are a woman of faith. What also, we talk about works. That's where I see you. I see you putting your faith to work. Just like you said, everything good is coming to me. I'm gonna have that relationship with good things. But I also don't only just see you saying it, because you know, in a time you got all these sayings and you can self-proclaim stuff and you can sit and say, but the action and your action is there. So if for the younger generation that may be watching, or some of the older generation that may be watching, you know, what would you say to them today, that person that's saying, I want to do A, B, C, and D? Like, where's the start there to aspiring to reach, turn my dream into a reality?
Plan.